Facebook. Hello, Facebook. How is everybody? I hope everyone has had a really lovely weekend. Lots of great things to share with you today. Facebook and, of course, Instagram. Instagram here on my phone and YouTube. Hello, YouTube. I know so many of you watching me on YouTube now. Thank you very much for subscribing to the Lizelle Wellbeing channel. Just to say a big apologies for what happened on Friday. I was making my pumpkin soup in my studios in London and got a bit carried away and forgot to press the save button for Instagram. So I'm really sorry that my Instagram live did not appear in my stories or my IGTV. But that's the great thing about having all these different platforms, because if I mess up on one, it's there on another. So it is on YouTube. So if you didn't manage to catch Fridays on Instagram, if that's how you normally watch your IGTV, possibly the easiest way is to head over to YouTube. You can also find it on Facebook, of course, as well. Hi, Victoria on Facebook. Very nice to have you with me. Today, I'm not sure if I've got Betty or Amy on Facebook, but I know one of my digital team will be there, which is great, because I've got lots to share with you, including the launch of an initiative that's happening tomorrow. Let me just grab my iPad. Here we go. Oh, it is Betty, I think. Hello, Betty. Hi, my lovely. How are you? Oh, my goodness. Lots of questions here coming in. So, yeah, pop them down and Amy or Betty will grab them. Oh, gosh, I've just seen one here. Hi, Liz. Any health tips and advice for women hoping to get pregnant in their mid-40s? Well, you are talking to somebody who did that very thing. Mind you, it was slightly unexpected. I love him dearly, but I have to say he was not entirely planned, but he was a wonderful, unexpected blessing. I was 47 when I got pregnant with him. I don't, but I have to say we have got an amazing podcast coming up with Mr. Stuart Lavery, who is the head of a fertility unit at the Hammersmith Hospital. He is really brilliant. And we are putting together lots of resources all around that podcast talking about fertility. So there will be pieces online about that. But that is an interesting one, isn't it? Okay, lots of questions about HRT and menopause. Just to say that if you were paying attention over the weekend, you may have seen that I did a live broadcast, if you like, with Louise Newson, Dr. Louise Newson, and that was compared by Lorraine Candy, brilliant journalist, and that was for a charity up in Stratford-upon-Avon, up in Warwickshire, for a theatre charity. And Dr. Louise was live, and I joined her via Zoom on this big screen. I have to say, it's a real lesson, because I did it on Zoom, and I thought they would kind of cut to me like they do if I'm doing TV. But they actually had the whole thing open the whole time. So I was there waiting for them to go live to me. And I was just kind of, on my phone, just checking my Instagram. And, luckily, I think not doing anything too awful, scratching my nose or worse, or, shouting at the kids or anything. Anyway, I don't know if you saw that, but they are doing it for charity. I think it's a £5 ticket thing, but if you head over to Menopause Doctor website, you can get a code and then you can watch it. And honestly, she was just brilliant as usual. Really, really good investigative look at menopause and HRT, and loved it. And I've been doing quite a lot actually behind the scenes with the setup for the menopause charity. I'm really proud to be one of the first ambassadors. I've just recorded something with Davina McCall and Lorraine Kelly. And the three of us are kind of warrior champions for this charity. So that will be coming out, I think, on Davina's platform, possibly next week. So anyway, I'll let everybody know about that. But a different charity that I wanted to talk about today, you may have seen me mention it in my stories already, and it's on Lizelle Wellbeing, is the Prince's Trust. And this is a charity that I've been personally supporting for many, many years. I was one of their mentors. Gosh, a long time ago, they did a campaign called Tomorrow's Today, I think it was. And they took sort of leaders from different areas. So they had a top fashion designer. They had Rankin, who's this amazing photographer. He did all the photographs. Kelly Hoppen, talking about interior design. I was there talking about beauty and well-being. And we mentored a winner from the Prince's Trust charity, and to kind of turn them or help them on their journey into becoming, the next big entrepreneur in their field for the future. And there was a wonderful young girl, Rebecca, who was part of their programme. and she had a lash and brow bar. And I'm really delighted to say that she's since gone on and founded other beauty businesses. She has a great business doing British-made implements like nails and tweezers and cuticle clippers and all of those things that are often much cheaper Chinese imports. And she's worked with people who make proper tools in Sheffield, and she's just got a great work ethic. So I must get in touch with her actually, and perhaps we'll do a little update. But if anybody would like to join tomorrow, so tomorrow is the launch of their new initiative, and it's Brilliant Breakfasts. And you may see, if you're wondering, if you can probably see me on Facebook, I had to lift it up to show Instagram, the Brilliant Breakfast. Okay, this is my breakfast. As you know, I don't really do breakfast. So I said to them, I'm really happy to support, but it's not going to be breakfast. It's more like a brunch, kind of brunchy lunch. So this is me. I've got my sourdough toast with my avocado and olive oil on there, and a cup of coffee, obviously. Can't function without a cup of coffee. And I have decorated my mug to support the Prince's Trust today. So they're going to be doing it tomorrow. So there's plenty of time if you want to host your own breakfast with a couple of friends maybe, or maybe a couple of colleagues if you're back at work. Thank you, Betty. I've seen that you popped the link. There's a justgiving.com link that you've popped on our Facebook page. Or you can do it virtually, you know, just like I was doing at the weekend with Louise and a whole theatre packed full of people. We don't have to be meeting in real life. Of course, it's wonderful when we can. And please, let's hope that that continues. But for now, if we have to do it virtually, that's still a great way to gather together. So I was looking at the Prince's Trust website. And one of the reasons that I was really keen to support this is it's about women supporting other women. And as you know, as I talk on this platform, very often I like to promote and champion female founder-led brands. Not always, but very often, I guess, you know, because I'm a female founder. And it's a tough journey. I think any entrepreneur or any founder will know that it can be a very lonely place when you're kind of working often on your own. And for women who so often tend to be the caregivers and the jugglers and the multitaskers, you know, it's another layer of complexity, isn't it, onto everything. So anyway, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about it. You can find it. It's actually, they've got their own webpage within part of the Prince's Trust. The Prince's Trust is the most amazing charity, started by Prince Charles, and it offers so much support and mentorship and practical help, financial help, loans and all sorts to younger people to really get them off on a good journey. And it was really interesting. I was talking about this when I was, one of the first times I was involved with them, must be, gosh, about 15 years ago maybe. And it was on a shoot, and I was with Kerry September, you know, our lovely makeup artist friend. And she just said out of the blue, she said, "Oh, I got help from Prince's Trust." I said, what do you mean you got help from the Prince's Trust? And she said, "No, they helped me. They helped me set up as a makeup artist." So when our lovely Kerry was starting her journey, she was living, you know, in a rundown flat share in London, had no money, and she needed to buy her kit. She needed to get her makeup kit. She needed to buy, you know, her bag with all her bits and pieces and her makeup brushes and all of that. And she got a loan from the Prince's Trust, and it enabled her to do that. And she also had some mentoring along the way. And then what happens with this, it's a bit like a chain letter, you accept in the nicer sense. You pass it on, or it's like you have a baton in a race. And it gives you the equipment and the ability and very often the knowledge and the contacts to go out and do what you want to do. And then once you achieve, the deal is that you then pass it back. So then she became a mentor for other young makeup artists, and she had various assistants helping her. So it's just sort of spreading the love, you know, sharing it. Everything grows and grows, a bit like those kefir grains in our fridges. You know, they just grow and grow and grow once you give them the right environment to flourish. So anyway, so they are doing this really for women. So this is a little subsection, if you like, of the Prince's Trust. So it's women supporting women. And it says here that this is really to do with the Brilliant Breakfast here, which is tomorrow, launching tomorrow morning. If you want to hold one for yourselves, maybe you'd like to have one within your community. You know, maybe you'd like to contact a few people here on Facebook or Instagram. And it basically is really in response to young people who have been some of the hardest hit by COVID-19. They did some research to say that over half of young women say that anxiety has increased. I mean, I know, you know, I'm not usually an anxious person, but I've been feeling anxious, and I know so many of us have been, and I know that we've been talking a lot about anxiety here on these broadcasts as well, and sharing nutritional support and resilience tips and podcasts and all of those things. But a lot of young people, and young women especially, are being massively hit by this. And they say that their anxiety has increased because of the crisis, and they say that finding a job feels impossible. If you've not been in work and you were just about to go into the job market, and there is just sometimes no hope, or a feeling of there being no hope. So the Prince's Trust Women Supporting Women's Initiative, they're asking for funds specifically for this, for young women, supporting them into education, employment or training. So that's what it says on the website. And then if you go to, it tells you about how to host a brilliant breakfast, so if you want to do it. And you can register with them and all of that, or you can just do it. And I popped a link, and I'll do it on Instagram as well, to the Just Giving page. And then it talks about where the donations go to, because sometimes I think it's easy to think, oh, you've got to give loads and loads of money, or it's not going to do any good. But I was really amazed to see even just tiny donations, how they can help. So, for example, £5 could pay for a reading module towards an English qualification for a young woman. So if your English isn't so great, it's an even tougher challenge, isn't it? So let's get integrated into society. Let's get some learning skills here. £10 could teach a young woman how to manage their money with a day-long budgeting session, really helping to come out of the spiral of debt. I know there's been lots of work on debt management and all of that as well, really important. £25 could help a young woman travel to a 2-week course that helps them gain work experience. If you've got work experience, then you're more likely to be able to get a job. £50 can help young women or a young woman travel to work in the month before their first paycheck, because maybe you do get a job, but then how do you get there? So it's all these really practical things, and I just love these charities. I mean, you can read it on their website. Do take a look at it, and they've got stories from young women who've been helped. And I know that I talk a lot here about some of the success stories, some of the women who've built great brands or who are on that journey. And actually this is going right back. Let's help tomorrow's leaders and tomorrow's young women who perhaps haven't even got their bus fare to get in to their first interview, so that's really what that's about. So just wanted to give that a shout out. I will be mentioning that more across my social media, and I'm going to find some of those pictures that Rankin took, because that was just the most extraordinary day. And actually it was quite funny seeing my face. It was the first time I've ever seen my face on a big poster, on a billboard. They had them on billboards, they had them on the tube. I remember kind of going down an escalator and seeing somebody who looked vaguely like me. But I have to say, the thing with Rankin, I don't know if you know his work, but he's the most amazing avant-garde photographer. And everything was just so electronically manipulated. And, I had completely, totally, retouched, photoshopped, flawless, everything was just pristine, which made a beautiful image. It wasn't, particularly realistic, but it did make a great image, and you can see why people, photographers like that are so incredible. But it was, such an amazing thing. So I will find those pictures. They are quite old, even though I probably look about 11, I should think, in them. It wasn't actually that long ago. Anyway, I'm going to put my lovely breakfast or my brunch to one side for now, because actually I was talking about female founder-led brands, I just wanted to do a bit of a shout out to a couple of my favourites at the moment. I've just been using this on my skin. This is LBB, and it's Life is Beautiful in Balance, which is a skin rescue. This is actually called the Hydration Balm. You may have seen me talk to Nena, who is the founder. And I would really love to talk more this week. I was actually emailing Nena over the weekend. We were trying to fix a time to meet up in London. I'm just putting some extra on my cuticles there because I love it so much. But she has given us a 20% Liz Loves off her lovely balms. And her background, I think she's Nigerian by background, by heritage. And of course, a lot of the West African oils are so incredibly good for the skin. So things like shea, and I know she uses moringa, and she also then combines that with sort of more high-tech things like ceramides. So really, really clever. I know lots of you have used this already. It's just such a great thing, and I love it. And I'd love to talk more about her brand. So Nena, if you're watching, I'm sending you big hearts. And I know that you started your brand right at the beginning of lockdown. So it would be lovely to come back and chat and see how things are going, and just to share some more beauty advice, some more beauty tips. Oh, thank you, Betty. You've put that online on Facebook already. I'll make sure that it's on Instagram. So those of you who are new to me on Instagram, if you're watching for the first time, I can't link. Instagram doesn't let us link. Naughty Instagram. I don't know why we can't, but we can't. We can link on Facebook. So one of my digital team from Liz Our Wellbeing will sit there and type in the links to things that I talk about. So it's really easy then if you want to just backtrack and take a little look, or just kind of have a quick scroll through while you're listening to other things. Instagram, what we do is we put in the bio. You may have seen those immortal words on so many people's Instagram. It says link in bio. You know, what does that mean? Well, what it means is if you go to my profile on Instagram, which is where there's a few lines of blurb about me and a little round picture, at the bottom of that there's a series of blue letters and numbers, and it says Linktree / something or other. And if you click that, that's where we can put all our links. So all the links to podcasts that I talk about, things like the Liz Loves discount, so the LLBB, that will be LBB, that will be there on Instagram, on Linktree. Things that I wear, you know, we've got Liz Loves discount codes. This is one of my lovely, lovely soft t-shirts from Lavender Hill Clothing, another great female founder-led brand, Isabel, who has that. Working a lot with bamboo and ethical, sustainable fashion. You know, her things are a little bit more expensive when you look at t-shirts, but they are so well made. They last. I mean, I have bought her t-shirts for the last, 3 or 4 years, and they are beautifully made, and they wash and wash and wash, and they hold their shape. They've got little lavender, I don't know if you can see that, little lavender velvet strips in the back, which are really comfy. And a lot of them are made in the UK, made in Europe, and yeah, they're another great British brand that I like to support. Other female founder-led brands. So on the beauty side, I talk often about Beauty Pie. So Beauty Pie, for those of you who don't know, where have you been? Oh my goodness, Beauty Pie is a disruptive beauty brand founded by Marcia Kilgore, who is a serial beauty entrepreneur. Now, somewhere I had my copy of the Current magazine. Oh, here it is. Okay, so I hope you've got your subscription to the Current magazine. So if you haven't seen it, there's a great interview. This is what she looks like, Marcia. And this is a new series that I'm doing actually on female founders, supporting women in business. And she, you know, she's so wise. I'm going to read you just a couple of things that she's talked about. So if there's anybody out there wanting to get into business, she is, you know, she's just saying, so we asked her, do you have any tips for somebody starting their own brand? And she says, this is quite interesting, she says, read absolutely everything, every business book you can get your hands on, every case study, listen to every podcast. Yes, listen to your podcast. I did actually do a podcast with Marcia. I don't know, Betty, if you can find a link to that, but it's really interesting because she talks about the early days when she set up Bliss Spa, then she went to set up FitFlop, which is that great shoe brand, Soap and Glory, Super Duper, and now Beauty Pie. So she's had quite a journey. And it says here, study psychology. Don't be afraid of your weaknesses. Spend 10 minutes a day on your weaknesses so it's not scary anymore. That's interesting, isn't it? I guess that could apply to real life, whether you're working in business or not. You know, spend time on the things that maybe scare us, that we do feel that we're weak with, physically or emotionally or mentally. And this is interesting. This is a great book. Who's read this book, A Road Less Travelled? Have you read that? Such a great book, isn't it? And I think the opening line in that book, if I remember rightly, is life is difficult. Yeah, boy. Isn't that so true? Life is difficult. Anyway, this is obviously one of her favourite books because she says here, M. Scott Peck pointed out in A Road Less Travelled that you need to remember everything is your choice. Your choices are the reason you're in your situation. Take responsibility for where you are, where you're not. Obviously, some of us don't have as many choices right now as we would like, but we can make choices for smaller things in life, for sure. And then she says, remember the grass isn't always greener. I'm often time poor, physically exhausted and mentally exhausted. Yeah, I know that one. Would I trade it for anything? Not a chance. Do I want to go back to not being my own boss? Would that be less mentally exhausting? I don't think so. So, and then she says here, Never underestimate the importance of networking. Hopefully we'll be able to get back to do that, or at least do some online. Also, working like a dog. Focus, sacrifice, staying humble, doing your homework, reading, evolving, listening to customers, connecting the dots in new ways, exploring doubts, always being open, driving progress, not being defensive. That's quite an interesting one, isn't it? Not being defensive. I guess, again, that's another life lesson. Having a good sense of humour. Yeah, we do have a joke here, don't we? And above all, keeping it real in capital letters. So, yeah, wise words, Marcia, wise words. Anyway, that's just some of what she's written about here. So Beauty Pie, which I do actually write about in the magazine, the reason it's disruptive is that she sells all her beauty formulations and they are really good. She does hair care, fragrance, skincare. I'll talk about one of my favourite skincare things in just a moment. And colour, so colour cosmetics. But she sells them all at cost price, so literally what they've cost Beauty Pie to make them. And you think, well, how does that work? You know, where they're making any money? Because she's got quite a big organisation running it, a big website, and a lot of tech. I mean, I know it's expensive to have to run those kinds of things. And she does it by having a membership scheme. So you just sign up to a membership. And so you're paying your monthly membership, which is, I don't know, maybe £10 a month, something like that. You can choose different levels. And then you get access to buying all this stuff at cost price. And she's given us here a Liz Loves code. So you sign up for your 3 months and you get your first month free if you put Liz Love. So if anybody is not a member of Beauty Pie, it's one of those kind of genuine things. I've signed my girls up. I've got both Lily and Brello, they're both signed up to Beauty Pie, and it is really good, particularly as we head into Christmas, because I know Brello, she got all her girlfriends Christmas presents from Beauty Pie. She got them little, box sets of makeup and nail varnishes and lip glosses and things, really, really inexpensive, but top quality. So one of the things that I pulled out here, just reminding myself of the price, because when I looked up the price, I couldn't actually believe it. So I'm often asked what I use, because I use retinol, and you know that I've talked about retinol quite a lot. We've written a lot about retinol online. It's a vitamin A derived ingredient, and it's something that over the years has really been shown to help all skin types. So whatever kind of skincare you're using, you can just add it in. It's an extra thing, and this is the one that I use at night. It's called Super Retinol. It's from Beauty Pie. So, I just clean my face. I'm using it on the backs of my hands as well. So don't forget that if you've got aging skin on your hands like me, rub a bit of your, kind of eye cream or face cream, whatever it is you're using, just do it on the backs of your hands as well, because that will just really help to keep the skin here looking nice and plump and soft. So this is a really good retinol. Retinol can be quite sensitizing if you're using it for the first time. It helps speed up cell renewal and just gives skin kind of a dewy, plumper look. Take a look online. We've written about it. If you don't know about retinol, go to Liz Our Wellbeing and read about it, because it's an interesting ingredient. And as I say, no matter what you're using, you can add it in. So just as an example, the way this works, so I genuinely buy this. I mean, I buy this, 2 or 3 of these at a time. And I pay about £16 for this. And if this was in the shops, it would be about 90. That's how good it is. So those are the kind of savings. So I worked out here, saving £73. And that's just one example. Anyway, this is not an ad for Beauty Pie. I just wanted to share it because I'm talking about female founder-led brands and kind of linking it to the interview that we've done in the magazine, and to share that Liz Loves. So all in capitals, all together, Liz Loves. I'm pretty sure that's the right one. Anyway, I would just check on here, because sometimes the people that give us discount codes want to change it. But I'm pretty sure Beauty Pie, where are you? Let me double check. Yeah, Liz Loves. There you go. Oh, yes, mustn't forget. Also Dr. Lip, another female founder-led beauty brand. Yeah, this is turning into a bit of a theme today. So Dr. Lip, Kerry September first introduced me to lanolin for the lips. Lanolin has had a bad rap because there were incorrect studies, flawed studies, misrepresented data. Where have we heard that before? Which wrongly linked lanolin to skin allergies and sensitization. And lanolin is actually a really safe hypoallergenic ingredient, especially if it's purified medical grade lanolin. They use it as a nipple cream. So for breastfeeding mums, that shows you how safe it is, because newborn babies are able to eat it. And yeah, it's very, very good for skin that is quite irritated and cracked and inflamed. And I think it's brilliant on the lips. And Kerry September first introduced me to it. I don't know if I've got mine here, actually. I normally have it just next to me, the one that I use, which is the regular one. But they introduced recently, when I think this is really clever, they introduced these 3 colours. So they've tinted their little lanolin lips. This is one that I'm going to use, which is it this one? Yeah, sweet potato. So they've tinted them with vegetable dyes. Isn't that clever? So it's kind of a no-brainer when you think about it, because you're eating what's on your lips, aren't you? So if you can use something that is edible, like sweet potato, this one is a berry and this one is red radish. So, and you can get the 3 of them in a little box. I have my little box somewhere. So yeah, they come like these 3 little lip tints. And honestly, for the winter, I just think they're great, because lipsticks can be a bit dehydrating. And as we get cracked lips, you just want to nourish your lips and look after them. But do you see, it's just sort of given me, I hope you can see that, just a little bit of colour around the lip, while actually keeping them chap free at the same time. And we do have a 15% Liz Loves on that as well. So go to Dr. Lip. I think, Betty, you've probably popped a link. A lot of chat here on Facebook talking about Beauty Pie membership. Do you recommend the annual one? Maybe. I mean, I love it, so I have the annual one. And I think you can cancel after 3 months. So yeah, I think it just depends what level. The different costs are on how much you're going to buy. So basically, if you take out the lowest membership, they cap how much you can buy. So you might be able to buy, I don't know, £300 or £400 worth of products. It's obviously not going to cost you that. It might cost you, I don't know, £25, £30, to actually spend. But they that's how they work it. Or if you actually want to go and buy loads and loads and loads of retinol and lots of other expensive things, then you pay for a little bit more for your membership. But I would say, start low. So, if you're new to it, just start with, one of the lower ones, and then if you love it, you can just buy more. You can just add on a little bit more to your membership. But it's one of those things. I think I bought my membership, it must have been nearly when she first started, maybe, I don't know, 4 years ago, something like that. Absolutely love it. And then I got fed up because my girls would come in and they'd just steal everything that I'd got, and so I then just ended up buying them their own membership. And now they use it a lot, for basic things and for special things, and it's honestly, their stuff is so good, the quality is so good, and the prices are so reasonable. It's really worth knowing that little beauty secret, or not so secret here. Talking of beauty secrets, I thought that I would share with you one of my beauty secrets, because this is something that I was reminded of by Kerry when I was doing the makeup shoot with her. You may have seen the pictures in Hello Magazine, and she was here making up myself and Brella and Lily and Kit for the behind the scenes sort of at home feature, which is still on the newsstands. I think it's out for another day, so do take a look if you fancy having a look at that. But she reminded me of this great product. It's made by Hourglass, so I just wanted to share it with you. I have found a link. Sometimes it goes out of stock, so if you're on Instagram, you'll find a link on my link tree to it. And I know, Betty, we've got a link, I think, for the Hourglass as to where you can get it. This was the one that I first bought a few years ago, and you can see that I've kind of really used it down. I hope you can see that, guys, over there on Facebook. And you might be thinking, interesting, where is that going? It's quite a big block of quite pale powder. This is the new one that's just arrived. So I'm going to have 2 now, because I love it so much. I'm going to keep one here on my dressing table here at home, and then I'm going to take the other one to my studios in London. So I always have it to look fresh-faced. So I'll use the one that I've got. No, I'm going to break into the new one. Why not? It's always nice breaking into something new, isn't it? So I'll show you how I use it. So I have just popped a little bit of makeup on this morning. I just put a little bit of base, just like the makeup tutorial that I did right at the beginning of lockdown, and I've used the Clarins concealer, a little bit of Laura Mercier powder. I've got my Beauty Pie, it's called Go Rouge, I think, which is my kind of lovely flushed cheek colour. But then this is the little secret thing, or not so secret now. So I use just a plain, kind of, it's like a flat foundation or concealer brush. And I just use some of this by Hourglass. It's called Ethereal Light. Okay, Ethereal Light. And then I just use it. You know how you can get really dark shadows just in here? This is where I use it. So it just goes on. It's like the last thing. Mustn't use too much, otherwise I'll look like the reverse of a panda. but it's just to show you. You really don't need very much, but it just bounces away the dark shadows. It just reflects the light in a really simple way. It seems to work on all skin tones, all ages, and you just pop a little bit under there. What I also like about it is it also just stops your makeup from creasing and falling into the fold in the skin and emphasising fine lines and wrinkles under the eyes. And if you want to get a bit more adventurous, you can always do kind of what the professional makeup artists do and just pop a little bit. They do that, to make your nose look like, I've got quite a small, stubby little nose, but they do that like down there. If you're doing a photo shoot, they'll always pop a little bit of makeup there. And also, if you want to emphasise your Cupid's bow, you can pop a little bit there. Again, that just sort of catches the light, but that's a bit of a faff, frankly. We don't need to do that. But under here, really good. Really like it. So there you go. One of my little trade secrets that Kerry reminded me of. Now, before I go, I just wanted to share with you the shot box. I got my new shot box that arrived this morning. I know lots of you are loving it. This is from the Healthy Juice Company. If you've been feeling a bit down, a bit under the weather, you can get the one-day shot box. It comes with your lovely lavender almond bath soak. I should be using that later. The Altriant C liposomal vitamin C, which I'm about to take as soon as I finished here, my VSL3 high strength probiotic, and then you get your 3, actually that's the 3-day one, that's the larger one. Yeah, my little mini bottles here. So you've got the cinnamon almond chia, which I absolutely love, cold pressed almond milk from organic almonds. This is the golden shot, look at the colour of that, turmeric and lots of vitamin C, pineapple, all sorts of interesting juices, and then your lovely green juice as well, Go Green, which is a delicious, delicious green juice. Anyway, thank you very much, Rosie, for that. You can get either, these are the sizes for the 1 day, and then these are the sizes for the 3-day version, which I have to say doesn't really last 3 days in my household, because once my family see it in the fridge, they go, oh, we'll have some of that. So I have to ration it. I give it to them kind of on the spoon, because it's really special stuff. Just time for an email here. I just wanted to share this with you because it was just so great, and thank you very much for all the emails and comments that come in. If you want to leave me a comment, if you're on Instagram, please don't send me a direct message because I can't cope with direct message. It just sort of is one step too far. It overloads everything. But I do try and respond to the comments that you leave for me. So thank you very much for those. Also, if you're listening to my podcast, you can leave comments on iTunes. You can leave reviews on there, which are always so gratefully received. So thank you. And of course, Facebook. Well, you know the drill. There's lots and lots of room for comments and questions there. So this was one that came in from Jennifer. And she writes, I just wanted to say a huge, huge thank you personally to Liz for her podcast, where she mentioned histamine intolerance. I've been battling with Crohn's disease for 4 years now and was really struggling for life. After the podcast, I tried a low histamine diet, and within a week, my symptoms had disappeared. And at my hospital appointment yesterday, my inflammation levels had gone from severe to normal range. I am so delighted I can now start getting my life back on track, all thanks to a mention of one of Liz's guests about histamine intolerance. Do please pass on this message to Liz, as I'm so grateful. Best wishes from Jenny. So I don't know if you're watching, Jenny, or maybe if you're watching on Catch Up later, or if you're on YouTube. I did get your message. Thank you very much for taking the time to write and to share that. And histamine, I have a feeling, is something that we're going to be returning to time and time again. It's extraordinary just how many long-term chronic pain conditions, from migraine to fibromyalgia, interesting here, Crohn's, these inflammatory conditions that are so hard to treat, and often medics kind of despair at knowing the best way to go about treating them, can have a link to histamine intolerance. So you might want to do, if you're in that position, or you know somebody who's in that position, do share. There's a podcast on histamine. Betty, I can see that you've linked it already on Facebook. Well done. And we've also, if you head to lizarwellbeing.com, you'll see, if you just type in histamine, you'll see there's an article that we've written about histamine intolerance. It's got links to the diet if you want to follow that. It's a very specific diet because histamine crops up in all sorts of things. You certainly couldn't have this if you're histamine intolerant, because avocados are hugely high in histamine. So, it's not like any other diet. It's, I know that things like FODMAP is quite tricky to get your head around, but histamine is a whole different thing. But if it's something that is affecting your life so badly and is so debilitating, as we discovered with Lily, of course, who is still very much on her low histamine diet, and she's also on histamine blockers as well. She's been treated medically for that too. It's a slow journey. I would love to be able to say to you that she was fixed, and she's not fixed yet. In fact, she's just about, I think, to go into yet another migraine today. So sending you so much love, sweetheart, if you are watching. Hopefully you're not watching. Hopefully you're lying down and doing something away from a screen and not paying any attention to your mum here. Any of you who saw You Magazine yesterday, there was a little article, an interview with Lily and me, talking specifically about working together and about how the last few years have been with her chronic illness. Anyway, I won't talk any more about that because I want to end on a high. I want to end by saying a huge thank you to everybody for so many lovely comments. Lots of great things happening here this week. I'll be back live with you on Wednesday. Bit of a treat on Wednesday because I'm going to be sharing the screen with an old friend of mine called Zana Morris. And if you recall, I did a feature with her not that long ago, all about high-fat foods and why you lose weight by eating high fat. And she's an amazing nutritional therapist and exercise trainer. And so we're going to be talking all about that. And I'm really looking forward to splitting the screen with her. She's an amazing woman. She's helped me hugely. So it's lovely to kind of share some of that. Anyway, sending lots of love to you all. I wish you a very, very good day. I promise to do my best, Instagram, to save this now to Instagram TV. I look forward to seeing you very soon. Bye-bye. So I'm going to end that. I know I'm still on Facebook. I'm going to press save. And then I'm going to press share. Okay, so I've done it. Okay, you saw it. You are my witness. These guys have gone. I'll say goodbye to you. Really nice to have your company on Facebook. Thank you for all the hearts. I can see them coming in. So appreciate it. Really love this community. Don't often have a chance just to chat to you guys on Facebook and YouTube on your own. I've usually got all our mates over on Instagram lurking in the background, but it's just us right now. So thank you very much. I really appreciate all your comments, your support. Life isn't easy, is it? It's not easy for any of us, but I think the key is to try and emphasise the positives, try and keep the vibes good, and just try and do the best that we can. None of us are perfect, but I think if we can support each other and share the good stuff, then we can all hopefully make a positive difference. Anyway, wishing you a lovely, lovely day. Thank you. Thank you for all your comments. Bye-bye.